All right, you moderate maniacs. This could be the beginning of a new monthly update. I'm going to be trying something out today. Just giving you a bunch of things that I look at on a monthly basis. Tell you why I do that. Why I think it's important for retirement. People who are retired, people who are coming up on retired, to look at this stuff. Now, these different categories, and I'll go through them in depth in a minute, are things that may stay in there, may go out. I want you guys to leave me comments. What would you like to see in this kind of retirement update for December? In other words, what's new in retirement for December? These are things I look at on a monthly basis. Maybe it might be interesting to you. So guys, give me some comments after we go through this. What do you like? What you don't like? And it'll be revolving until I get a set mix. Now, I can't promise I'm going to do everything you request, but if there's a lot of demand for it, and also if there's a lot of demand for this video going forward, it will be going forward on a monthly basis. And at the end of this video, I'll give you a couple articles that came out in December that I think are pretty good regarding retirement. So here we go. These are numbers that I traditionally look at on a monthly basis, okay? I mean, it just gives you a good picture of the economy. If you're thinking about moving, if you're thinking about downsizing, these numbers here to me give you a good idea. If you're thinking about changing your investment mix, which I don't advise unless you really, really think it through, this could give you an idea though. Okay, first of all, this was recorded on Wednesday, which will probably be a couple days before this video comes out. So these numbers reflect as of Wednesday. First of all, we got the Dow, 42,326. Wednesday was the 10th day in a losing streak. Okay, hasn't happened like that since the 1970s. It was down 1,123 points today on the Dow. Yikes. But again, as we've always said here on this channel, if you're confident in your investment mix, sit tight. Don't need to do anything about it. Okay? Hey, for those of you who see me for the first time, my name is Duane, and this is a channel for people on moderate income. If you think you might like that, think about subscribing and like the video. And if you really like it, down below you can either buy my new novel, The Monster Who Loves Me, or you can buy me a coffee. I love coffee. So let's get to the S&P. S&P 500. It's at 5872. In the last year, the S&P has been up 30%. Unbelievable. That's a great run. It usually doesn't do, it averages about 7-8%. Normally if you take it over long periods of time, sometimes up to 10%, sometimes even higher, but 30%, that's unbelievable, guys. So for those of you who are invested in stocks, that's a great thing. For those of you who aren't, you should be. Inflation, 2.7%. It went up slightly from last month. It was at 2.6. Now, what the Fed is trying to do here, they want to keep it right around 2%. Okay? This is also what has influenced this big, humongous, how much was it? 1,123 drop. Initially, the Fed said that they were going to have 4 rate cuts in 2025. The reason for that drop, they lowered that down to 2. Yeah, people are getting skittish, okay? So this inflation, that's the Fed's target rate. That's what they want to keep it at. They're doing a pretty good job. It was at 2.6% last month, 2.7% this month. Also, what I'm going to do on this, on a go-forward basis, is I'm going to compare month to month. How to do last month as opposed to this month in most of these figures, okay? Fed funds rate. This is what the Fed is talking about when it's talking about cutting rates, raising rates, okay? Right now it's between 4.25 and 4.5%. I hope you can see that. There's a little reflection going on here. That's what we're talking about when they're talking about cutting or raising the rate. So now it's in between there as of Wednesday. Here's another thing I like to look at. What is a 30-year fixed mortgage rate? Currently 6.78%. Pretty high, right? Pretty high compared to historical rates. Why is this important? Hey, for you retirees who are thinking about maybe downsizing, yeah, that's pretty important. If you can't pay for your downsized house in cash, that's important. If you need to take out a small loan, that's very important. That is a high rate, okay? Treasuries. Why do I look at treasuries? Because for me, I have been heavy into 6-month treasuries for the last couple years. That's where I put the majority of my cash on hand that you see in my monthly updates. I put it into 6-month treasuries. As you see here, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year. They're all pretty close, right? The reason I like 6-month treasuries is that it's sitting there for a good 6 months. It also, if you're impulsive, which I tend to be at times, if you get the majority of your cash working for you in let's say a 6-month T-bill, you can't touch that cash, right? You can't touch it. That's a good thing. And then at the end of 6 months, you get back a little money. For me, it's worked out good these last 2 years, So think about it. Here we go down to CD rates. Currently 4.3 to 5.25%. Money market, 4.5. Can you see that? 4.5 to 5%. Main difference between those two, fixed rate, variable rate. Okay? It all comes down to what your preference is. If you'd like it to be a little more flexible, you might think about money market. If you don't care about that, want a fixed rate, go for a CD. See below there, online banks, they're still giving a pretty good percentage, 4.5 to 5%. Guys, if you've got the bulk of your money sitting in a traditional bank now and not doing like 6-month treasuries, online savings account, you're missing out. You're really missing out. I have a small amount in a traditional bank just because it's convenient. But the bulk of mine, like I said, are in 6-month treasuries. Think about money markets, CDs, online banks. What's the next one? Home prices. Again, if you're considering downsizing at all. Home prices up 6.6% over the last year. Okay? Not too bad, not like a huge bubble, but yeah, home prices are going up. With this 6.78 fixed, it's kind of surprising that prices are still going up a little bit. I mean, it's not a huge bump, but it's still a little bit surprising. Median rent, $1,595 a month. Now, this could be for some of you who are just tired. You're tired of upkeep with your house. You just say, forget it, man. I'm going to give it to my landlord. I don't really care. $1,595 a month. This has actually been pretty steady, hasn't moved too much over the last year. I look at that. That just gives me an idea, not that I'm considering downsizing, but all these figures together give me an idea of how the economy is doing, how the markets are moving. Is there any major shift I should be looking at? Just a quick snapshot for me on a monthly basis that I do. Okay, gold, $25.87. Now that's been pretty good lately. I mean, historically, gold has been up and down, just like anything else. But lately, it's been pretty good. Now, I currently have nothing in gold. Might think about doing that, though, in the future. $25.87. Here's one we got to talk about a little bit. Bitcoin, currently at 103,000. Now, the new administration coming in next year is pro-Bitcoin. They are pro-Bitcoin. Also, a lot of big businesses are pro-Bitcoin. I am not involved in anything Bitcoin related now. That may change. Can't give you a hard yes or a hard no now because of the new administration, very pro-Bitcoin. Okay? So there's some figures I look at on a monthly basis. Here are 2 articles that came out this month that I found interesting. The first one is called What's Changing for Retirement in 2025? Outlines some new rules. Just things to look out for. You always want to be up to date, right? This was put out by Morningstar. Okay, I will have links to that down below so you guys can check it out. The other one, and this is just interesting to me, very interesting, is how retirement has changed over the years. It goes all the way back to Roman times. And did you know that some Roman citizens had pensions? Yeah, I had no idea. Very interesting article. This is put out by a group called The Conversation, and I will put that down below the link as well. So there you go, guys. Let me know what you think of this. If this should be a monthly thing, what you'd like me to add, delete. Won't promise anything, but give me your ideas on that. And as always, from the lovely high desert, we got this.